Hello, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about something that matters to millions of Australians, the age pension for singles in 2026. If you're currently receiving the single age pension, if you're about to reach pension age, or if you're planning ahead for your retirement as a single person, this video is absolutely essential viewing. We're going to break down exactly what's changing, what's staying the same, and most importantly, what this all means for your financial situation. Let's start by acknowledging something really important here. Being a single pensioner in Australia comes with unique financial challenges that couples simply don't face. You're managing all your living costs on one income stream, you don't have the benefit of shared expenses, and the pension rates for singles, while helpful, often leave people struggling to make ends meet. Understanding every change and every entitlement available to you is crucial because even small increases or adjustments can make a real difference to your quality of life. So, what exactly is happening with the single age pension in 2026? The first thing you need to know is that the pension age itself remains at 67 years for anyone born on or after January 1st, 1957. There's been a lot of speculation and frankly some scaremongering on social media about the pension age increasing to 70, but I want to be crystal clear with you. There are no confirmed plans to increase the pension age beyond 67 in 2026. The government has consistently stated this in their budget papers and forward estimates. If you're eligible at 67 now, you'll still be eligible at 67 next year, provided you meet all the other requirements, of course. Now let's talk about the money, because that's what really matters when you're trying to pay your bills and put food on the table. The age pension is indexed twice a year, on March 20th and September 20th. This indexation ensures the pension keeps pace with increases in the cost of living. The indexation is calculated using the higher of either the Consumer Price Index or the Pensioner and Beneficiary Living Cost Index, and it's also benchmarked against increases in male total average weekly earnings. This might sound like bureaucratic jargon, but what it means in practice is that your pension should increase to reflect the rising costs you're experiencing in your daily life. For the March 2026 indexation, current economic projections suggest we're looking at an increase somewhere in the range of 2.8 to 3.5%. Now, I need to emphasize that this is an estimate based on current inflation trends and economic forecasts, and the actual figure will be confirmed by the government closer to March. But if we use these projections and apply them to current payment rates, a single pensioner receiving the maximum age pension could see their fortnightly payment increase by approximately $35 to $45 per fortnight. That works out to roughly $70 to $90 per month, or around $900 to $1,100 per year. That's real money that can help cover rising costs for groceries, electricity, gas, medical expenses, and all the other essentials that seem to get more expensive every year. Let's break down what single pensioners are currently receiving so you have a baseline to work from. As of the most recent indexation, the maximum basic rate for a single age pensioner is approximately $1,420 per fortnight. On top of this base rate, you also receive additional supplements if you're eligible. The pension supplement for single pensioners is around $78.50 per fortnight, and this helps with everyday costs. There's also the energy supplement, which provides an additional $14.10 per fortnight to help with power bills. When you add all these components together, the total maximum payment for a single pensioner is sitting at around $1,512 per fortnight, which works out to roughly $3,024 per month or $36,312 per year. Now here's the crucial thing that trips up so many people. These figures I just mentioned are the maximum rates. Whether you actually receive this full amount depends entirely on two tests, the income test and the assets test. This is where things get more complicated, but it's absolutely vital that you understand how these work because small changes to your circumstances or to the test thresholds can significantly impact your payment. The income test looks at all your income from various sources. This includes any wages or salary if you're still doing some work, deemed income from your financial investments, income from rental properties, certain superannuation income streams if they're account-based pensions, and basically any other money coming in regularly. For single pensioners, there's currently an income-free area of around $212 per fortnight. This means you can earn up to this amount without it affecting your pension at all. Once you go over this threshold, your pension reduces by 50 cents for every dollar of income above the limit. The cutoff point where you lose your pension entirely due to income is currently around $2,390 per fortnight for singles. For 2026, we're expecting the income-free area to increase slightly with indexation, probably by somewhere between $5 and $12 per fortnight. This might not sound like much, but it means you can earn a bit more from part-time work or have slightly higher investment income without your pension being affected. For single pensioners who are still working part-time or casually, this is genuinely good news because it gives you more flexibility to top up your income without penalty. The assets test is arguably even more important for many single pensioners, and it's where a lot of people either qualify for a reduced pension or miss out entirely. The assets test looks at the total value of everything you own, excluding your principal family home if you're a homeowner. This includes investment properties, savings in bank accounts, term deposits, shares and managed funds, your superannuation balance once you've reached pension age, vehicles beyond a reasonable primary vehicle, caravans and boats, collectibles and valuables, and really anything else of significant value. The thresholds for the assets test are different depending on whether you're a homeowner or a non-homeowner. For single homeowners in 2026, current projections suggest you'll be able to have assets up to approximately $300,000 and still receive the full age pension. That's an increase from the current threshold of around $294,000. The upper limit where you lose your pension entirely is expected to be around $680,000 for single homeowners, up from the current $663,000. If you're a single non-homeowner, the thresholds are significantly higher because the government recognizes you don't have the benefit of a family home that's exempt from the test. For 2026, single non-homeowners should be able to have assets up to approximately $524,000 for a full pension, with a cutoff point around $893,000. These higher thresholds acknowledge that non-homeowners need additional assets to cover their housing costs throughout retirement. Here's why these threshold increases matter so much. If you're currently sitting just over the asset limit and receiving no pension or only a small part pension, the March 2026 indexation could push those thresholds up enough that you newly qualify for a payment or for a higher payment. Even a part pension is incredibly valuable because it comes with the pensioner concession card, which I'll talk about in detail in just a moment. For someone with assets of around $670,000 who currently gets nothing, you might find yourself eligible for a small pension after the March indexation, and that pension could be worth several $1,000s a year, plus all the concession card benefits. Let's talk about deeming rates, because this is a critical part of how your financial assets are assessed under the income test. Deeming is a system where the government assumes your financial investments earn a particular rate of return, regardless of what they actually earn. This deemed income then counts toward your income test. The current deeming rates are 0.25% on financial assets up to $60,000 for singles, and 2.25% on amounts above that threshold. These rates are quite low compared to historical standards, which has been beneficial for pensioners with savings. However, there's ongoing discussion about whether deeming rates should be adjusted given that interest rates have been elevated compared to a few years ago. If you have substantial savings earning interest at current rates of 4 to 5%, but deeming only assumes 2.25%, this works in your favor. However, if deeming rates were to increase in 2026, it would mean higher deemed income from your savings, which could reduce your pension payment. This is definitely something to monitor as we move through the year, because any changes to deeming rates can have significant impacts for singles with moderate to high financial assets. One of the most valuable aspects of the age pension that doesn't get enough attention is the work bonus scheme. This is particularly relevant for single pensioners who might want or need to continue working part-time. The work bonus allows you to earn up to $300 per fortnight from employment before it's assessed under the income test. Even better, there's a work bonus bank that can accumulate unused amounts up to a maximum of $11,800. This means if you don't work for several fortnights, your unused work bonus builds up and can be used later when you do work more hours. For single pensioners, this is genuinely fantastic because it means you can take on casual or part-time work to supplement your pension without losing your payment dollar for dollar. If you earn $400 per fortnight from work, only $100 of that counts under the income test because the first $300 is covered by the work bonus. This effectively means you can earn significantly more before your pension is affected. There's been strong advocacy for the work bonus to be expanded in 2026, particularly given labor shortages in many industries and the financial pressures facing single pensioners. While nothing has been confirmed yet, this is an area where positive changes could be announced. Now, I want to talk about something that's almost as valuable as the pension payment itself, and that's the pensioner concession card. When you receive the age pension as a single person, you automatically get this card, and the benefits it provides are substantial. The card gives you access to cheaper prescription medications through the pharmaceutical benefits scheme, where you pay a maximum of just $7.70 per script instead of the full price, which can be $40 or $50 or more. If you have multiple medications, this alone can save you thousands of dollars per year. You also get bulk billing at most GP clinics, meaning you don't pay out of pocket for standard doctor visits. There are discounts on public transport in most states, reductions on council rates, water and sewerage charges, and various other utilities. Many states and territories also offer additional concessions on car registration, energy bills, and property taxes for pensioner concession card holders. When you add up all these benefits, they're worth somewhere between $3,000 and $6,000 per year for most single pensioners. This is why even a part pension can be so valuable, because you still get the concession card even if you're only receiving a small fortnightly payment. For singles who don't quite qualify for the age pension due to the income or assets tests, you might still be eligible for the Commonwealth Seniors Health Card. This card provides many of the same pharmaceutical benefits and some other concessions. The income limits for this card are separate from the age pension means tests and are adjusted annually. For 2026, we're expecting these thresholds to increase in line with inflation, which could make more self-funded single retirees eligible for this card and its associated benefits. Let's address one of the biggest misconceptions about the age pension for singles, and that's regarding the family home. Your principal place of residence is exempt from the assets test regardless of its value. This is a hugely important protection that allows single pensioners to own valuable property and still qualify for the pension. If you're a single person living in Sydney or Melbourne, where even modest homes are worth well over $1 million, that entire value is excluded from the assets test. Only your other assets like savings, shares, and investment properties count toward the threshold. However, there are some important nuances here. If you own a large property, only the house and the first 2 hectares of land are typically exempt. If you're temporarily absent from your home, there are time limits on how long the exemption continues. And if you move into aged care, different rules apply to how your former home is assessed. But as it stands for 2026, the family home exemption remains in place with no changes announced, which is crucial protection for single pensioners. Another area that causes confusion is how superannuation is treated. Once you reach age pension age, your superannuation balance is counted as an asset under the assets test. The income deemed to be earned on that superannuation also counts under the income test. This is true whether your super is in accumulation phase or whether you've converted it to an account-based pension. Some single retirees mistakenly believe that starting a pension from their super exempts it from the means tests, but this isn't the case. Your entire super balance will be assessed once you hit pension age. For single pensioners in 2026, this means if you have substantial superannuation, it could affect your age pension entitlement. However, it's worth noting that if your super is the main source of your retirement savings and you don't have other significant assets, you may still qualify for at least a part pension depending on your total financial situation. Looking ahead specifically at the challenges facing single pensioners, there's been increasing recognition that the current age pension rates don't adequately reflect the cost of living for people managing expenses alone. Various studies have shown that single pensioners particularly those renting in the private market, are living well below commonly accepted poverty lines even when receiving the full age pension. Organizations advocating for retirees have been calling for structural increases to the single pension rate beyond just indexation. Thank you so much for watching this detailed breakdown of the single age pension changes and updates for 2026. I know this is a lot of information to take in, but understanding your entitlements and how the system works is so important for your financial security. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more Australian pension and retirement content. Leave a comment below if you have questions or if there are specific topics you'd like me to cover in future videos. Take care, plan ahead, and make sure you're getting every dollar you're entitled to in your retirement. Claude is AI and can make mistakes. Please double-check responses.